Nissan's electric vehicles run on a special electricity. Not the electricity that turns on light bulbs or runs through your outlets. I'm talking that spine-tingling goosebump feeling that electrifies your body and soul. It could be the simple win of leaving on time for your morning commute or scoring the largest deal of your career. Nissan is continuously evolving and changing the game through electric vehicle engineering. Because the electricity of their cars not only moves engines, it also moves the emotions of those who drive them. To learn more about Nissan's electric vehicle lineup, visit www.nissanusa.com.
Start your wellness journey at Whole Foods Market, where it's Jumpstart January through the 16th. Stock up on supplements with some of the year's biggest savings. Plus, save on air-chilled organic boneless skinless chicken breasts, organic Honeycrisp apples, organic large Hass avocados, and more. And since Whole Foods Market is the only certified organic national grocer, it's easy to make them your wellness destination. Jumpstart your January now at Whole Foods Market.
Episode 339, How to Negotiate and Save Lots of Money.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends Podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends Podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today we are doing another episode on negotiation because it is such a great way to save money, earn more, and practice your people skills.
At Negotiation Station, where we'll tell you all the ways.
But before we get into that, this episode is brought to you by our listener special. So this year, our listener special is on October 31st. Yes, Halloween. And we want to share your spooky, strange, bizarre money stories with the community. So did you find money in a weird place? Did you have to pay a fee with a weird name? Did you have to pay a person with a weird name? Don't judge them, but let us know. Make us laugh, and the listener with the best spooky season money story will win one of our new Frugal Friends t-shirts. So use the Bill of the Week line, frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill today, now through September 28th, to leave your spooky, silly story about money and tune in on Halloween to hear them all.
I cannot wait for this one. I think this is going to be the best listener special yet. Lots of weird, spooky things.
I hope. So if you're interested in flexing your negotiation muscles, then we've done a few episodes in the past. Episode 327, Saving Money on Rent, where we talk specifically about negotiation tactics for rent. Episode 263, How to Negotiate a Higher Salary in Any Field with Mandy Woodruff-Santos. That one is so clutch. If you don't do anything else today, scroll back to episode 263 and cue that up to play next, because it is information you will want. Even if you're happy in your job right now, listen to this episode because it can only help you with your career growth and your salary negotiations. So 263, Mandy Woodruff-Santos, you will thank me later.
I'll thank you now. Thanks, Jen. It's a good one.
You're welcome.
So let's get into these articles about negotiation. And the first one comes from Go Banking Rates. They write articles too. It's titled 10 Biggest Negotiation Mistakes That Are Making Other People Rich. It's an interesting one to say. It's making other people rich. But I appreciate this perspective of the things that we might be doing wrong when it comes to negotiation. And so I'll just kick it off with the first two, which include going in without options and doing poor research on pricing. These two really do go hand in hand. So there's no real point in separating them for the sake of this podcast. So essentially, one of the biggest mistakes that we can make is trying to negotiate without actually having real numbers in mind. That's not to say that when we start negotiating, we can't kick it off with something like, is this your best price? But we need to know in our own mind, what am I willing to pay for this thing? What number could we reasonably come to and me be pleased with that? Feel like it's reasonable or a good deal? And that, again, is paired with having done research. what are the going rates for that good or service so that you can be well advised on, is this going to be a good number? You can even utilize that research in your negotiation of whatever it is, a good or a service, to be able to say, oh, well, I've been able to find, let's say, a similar phone plan for X amount of money. Maybe even list off who it is that you've been able to find that rate, and can you do better? So having done your research, having numbers in mind before you get to the negotiation table, so to speak. There may not be a table though, just beware. It may just be you standing there.
Yeah, this one is particularly relevant for me because Travis, my husband, has a price in mind that he wants to pay, but it's not necessarily always rooted in reality. And I don't know if that's you, like listening to this, but it's very important, especially unfortunately with inflation, the prices that we may have had budgeted for or think that we should be paying are a lot of the times no longer accurate. So doing your research on pricing, having the options of the current pricing options and going in with the best, most current knowledge is really important. And like for goods, that might mean going to Amazon or Target or Walmart.com and looking at the price new. And then if you're going for used, you'll take 50% off of that. If it's kind of lightly used, I would say. If it's brand new with tags, maybe 75% of the brand new price. And then if it's like really well worn, but still good, then you could even maybe negotiate down to 25% of that full price. But usually somewhere around 50% of full price is where you want to be in your negotiation for goods. So those are the places where I go to. And I also go to just Facebook Marketplace and just compare what else is going. Like for dressers, what price are other dressers going for that are sold and versus sitting there for a long time, so that I can have more leverage to say, hey, I can get this fast. And you might be able to get a little bit more off if you say you can get it fast, but you want to make sure that it's in general line with what else is on Facebook Marketplace at the time. So the next one I also have a personal experience with is over haggling. So haggling is one approach to attempt, and they use the word haggling a lot in the next article we'll get into. Haggling, it triggers me, I think.
I don't love this word either.
So over negotiating is maybe what I'm going to say, right?
Yeah.
It's one approach to attempt to get something at a lower price, but some people overdo it. And then they end up paying even more than they would have if they kept haggling tamer. And we'll talk a lot about that in the next article. But my personal experience with this is similar to what the author is saying in here. She says, one of the most common, well, this is a quote from somebody, but one of the most common mistakes I see is over haggling, or essentially customers haggling to the point where the business owner will actually add an inconvenience fee to the service due to time already wasted from the outset. So I don't think it's ethical. I don't know if this per se is true, but my experience with over haggling is I used to work at the Gap, and longtime listeners of the show will have heard this story on every negotiating episode we've ever done. And there was a mom buying clothes for her kids. I worked at Gap Kids, and they were buying a lot of stuff. And her dad, so Grandpa, Pop, was there, and they were ringing out, and he was like, what discount can you get me? And I was like, well, if you sign up for a Gap card, you can get this much off. And I was a robot. The only thing they cared about was how many Gap cards you could sign people up for, not how much merchandise you could sell. If that tells you anything about the store credit card industry, that's all they cared about. So that was all that I could offer them. That was the only sale going on right then. It was probably a weekday because we had sales every weekend. It's not like you probably could have postponed the shopping trip 3 days and there would have actually been a discount. But there was just nothing that day. And that dude pressed me so hard, verbatim saying, you're going to give me this credit card discount without me signing up for the credit card. And I was like, I literally can't, because if I key in this code and you do not pay with a Gap card, it will kick the code out. Like it won't allow the code.
It's not possible, sir.
And I had to call a manager, and he said the same thing to the manager. And she was like, no.
It doesn't work like this.
Yeah, they left there with no discount because there was literally no discount to be had. We were not the owners of the store. We could not make up discounts. This is an experience you should not have with store associates. That is over haggling.
In negotiation, it's one thing to have an experience like that when you're trying to advocate for yourself for an injustice that has happened, but not when you're just trying to get a deal.
Right. Yes.
But now I've never heard of someone tagging on extra money because they were irritated by you. I've never actually heard of that.
I could see a small-time service making up some kind of fee that is not like an annoyance fee, but a fee that they would not have charged otherwise that they make seem standard. I can definitely see that happening. But that's just another time where you should be vigilant in negotiating fees, but not over haggling. Be nice, people.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So, how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing. And of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
We know New Year's resolutions often don't stick. In fact, on average, they last around 30 days. So if saving money is on your 2024 resolution list, here's a foolproof way to stick to yours.
Switch your phone provider to Mint Mobile. For a limited time, wireless plans from Mint Mobile are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. That's unlimited talk, text, and data for $15 a month.
For those of you paying close to $40 a month for just one phone line, this means a savings of $300 over the course of the year. We especially like Mint because all plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/frugal. That's mintmobile.com/frugal. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/frugal. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. The next one is not embracing AI technology. So essentially not using ChatGPT to your advantage is a mistake we can make. Now, I mean, this is a newer mistake. Obviously, negotiation 5 years ago, this was not possible.
I love this.
This is awesome. So you can use ChatGPT to help you identify where there's room to negotiate. So they essentially say here, you can ask ChatGPT, what are some of the alternatives to the negotiated deal on the table at the moment? So you could use prompts like, which argument should I use in this negotiation? Or what are alternatives to this deal? Or what terms could I trade in this negotiation to get what I want? And so much more. So you could essentially plug in what is the deal that you're trying to negotiate and let AI do the work of what is it that I'm missing? Because sometimes we just don't know what we don't know, especially when it comes to those various fees and how services are charged or the going rate on deals. So when we talk about coming in with a number or having done your research, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to have put in a ton of your own time. We can utilize AI to our benefit to ask ChatGPT, what do I need to know here? What are the terms that I can negotiate? How low could I possibly go? What's even a script? What wording can I be using? So I've not done this yet. This is honestly the first time that I'm hearing of this little tip. So thrilled about it. You bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be out here negotiating all of my bills using ChatGPT now.
Mm-hmm. Well, in a few weeks, we'll be recording an episode on how ChatGPT can save you money. So I'm very excited about that because there are so many ways that as long as you know like the right prompts and the capabilities of ChatGPT and the limitations of it, that it can help you with some of your decisions that you would make that would be taxing for you or research that would be taxing for you, but ChatGPT can do it very quickly. So it alleviates that stress from your brain so that you can make better decisions longer throughout the day. So I really I know ChatGPT can't crawl like actual websites, but if you're like, what's the going rate for internet in my city? What are deals that are happening? That it can give you an idea of where to start so that your research is faster. And yes, and it can give you like verbatim scripts, stuff like that. So if you haven't signed up for ChatGPT, if you've been nervous about it or you're like, man, I don't need that. When I first heard about it, I was like, I don't want to try this. I think I'm scared. This is a spiral. This is a rabbit hole. But I've been very interested and excited about the capabilities of this free technology. For now, it's free to help us save money. So embrace AI. Before the robots take over, use them to save money. That's it. Thank you for tuning in today.
We're not robots.
No. Next is overlooking long-term value. So this is the difference between being frugal and cheap, right? So are you only looking at the upfront cost of something, or are you also factoring in long-term value? So you need to have a big picture perspective when negotiating. And this is also something that AI could help you with determining the cost per wear or cost per year, something like that math stuff. When you don't have a math formula that you know of, the internet knows. So the article says that assessing the long-term consequences of your decisions could mean occasionally paying a little more upfront for favorable terms. And so this isn't like paying more upfront for an extended warranty, but for better quality or for maybe some kind of, I don't want to say warranty, but some kind of like plan that you know that you will use or know that will give you peace of mind that's still affordable. Peace of mind can sometimes be just as valuable as saving money. So yeah, definitely consider the long-term value. If you're buying something used, then don't shy away from higher priced items that will last longer. That's kind of why we buy used, not just for the environment, not just for the money saving, but so that we can not have to buy things as frequently.
The last one on here for me is fear of rejection. This can be a big inhibitor of negotiating, is that we just are afraid of the salespeople. I don't know why. It's like when you're 6 years old and you have to use the telephone for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Only we're adults now, and for some reason, it's still difficult to pick up that phone. So essentially, the article is just saying kind of get over it. Don't be afraid of salespeople. The worst they can do is say no to you. And I would take that a step further than just saying get over it by practicing. Have ChatGPT create scripts for you. Just get used to hearing these words come out of your own mouth by yourself in a room. That's fine. Maybe pull a friend in with you, someone that you trust, and kind of go over how this conversation might go. And then start with like low-level stakes. Maybe do a phone call before you try to negotiate in person. Sometimes that can feel a little bit better. Or use the chat function with whatever good or service that you are trying to negotiate. Sometimes we can negotiate our internet bills just chatting, literally typing back and forth to their salespeople or their customer service. So start small, start on your own, do some practice, and essentially keep reminding yourself that the worst they can do is tell you no.
I get this. And it's not so much a fear of rejection as it is like, sometimes I think I deserve to pay more.
Oh,
I know it's like sad, but if I get a higher price, I think it's like, oh, I didn't do enough research or I didn't negotiate right, so I deserve this higher price. Like one time we bought a 4-park Disney ticket thing, and it was 2021. They had just reopened after the pandemic, and you had to make reservations for the parks. But the only park that had reservations available was Animal Kingdom. And so like I didn't want to go back to Animal Kingdom 3 more times. So we just didn't use it. And Travis is like, I want my money back. I didn't use the whole ticket. And I was like, but I bought it. I shouldn't have bought the 4. I should have just bought 2 or 3. Like, it's my fault. I deserve to pay that money. And he's like, no. And so he calls Disney and he gets a partial refund.
Did he?
I wasn't going to do that. No.
Yeah.
And that's why he does the negotiating in the household. So yeah, I get it.
Well, that's the thing too. Yeah. Like not wanting to even appear like a cheapskate. I don't want to, but who cares? This person doesn't know me.
Yeah. You don't know if you don't ask, and you don't have to be rude about it.
Yeah.
You can be firm and kind. And I think that's maybe something that people see as separate. If I have to be firm, that I am being unkind, but they are not mutually exclusive. I have found that you can have boundaries and you can be persistent and still do them in a kind way.
Agreed.
So our next article is one that I liked a lot. So this is written by Peter Rothbart, and he says, I've haggled down the price of everything from rent to dental surgery, and I have 6 do's and don'ts for anyone who wants to negotiate. And I liked these do's and don'ts, and I like how he puts them.
Yes, these are very fun. I would definitely recommend this article. And the first one is be friendly but firm, which is exactly what you were just saying, Jen, that the two can...
You can tell that I read the article
ahead of time. The two do go hand in hand. They can, at least. So they're saying, do play nice. We can sometimes get this idea that to negotiate, we kind of have to have this hardened facade and we've got to be cutthroat hustlers who are just out here wheeling and dealing at high pressure stakes to get a bargain. And in reality, just being a pleasant individual is going to make you more enjoyable to engage with and more likely to get a deal. So being polite, staying positive, using your good manners and your kind words, just overall being pleasant to work with is going to get you more likely the deal that you want. And with that said, pairing it or holding the tension, if you will, with not being a pushover. So being polite doesn't always mean being overly accommodating. You can absolutely know your number, your boundaries, what you will and won't do, the number you will do, the number you won't do, and being willing to walk away. Failing to close a deal is not a breach of etiquette. If you can't come to terms with the person that you're negotiating with, it's also okay to walk away. So being kind, but having your own limits and boundaries, being willing to walk away, these all can be true at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Number 2 and 3, we just talked about in the last article. So be mindful of context. Negotiate in settings where negotiation is more well received, not at the Gap. And then do your research, know what you're going in there. Don't mistake similar for equivalent. I liked that. So look for differences between available items, but don't mistake similar features for equivalent. So account for costs like taxes, shipping, external factors like time, distance, convenience, stuff like that. But I want to go into number 4 really next. is be frugal, not cheap.
Hey-o, you know this
Yay! He says, do bid to your advantage and don't blow a good deal looking for a better one. So bidding to your advantage, start by offering less than you're ultimately willing to pay. That is just, as a seller, we always list items for about $20 or 20% less, more than what we're wanting to accept. So as a buyer, you can start with maybe $30 less than you're willing to pay or 25% less than the listed. So you'll end up somewhere in the middle. But don't blow the good deal looking for a better one. So if when you're presented with a strong offer, take it. When you have met somewhere in the middle, don't keep going. Don't annoy the seller. Just take it. And there's also another don't to this one is don't give lowball offers with little chance of success. That's insulting. It's annoying. I know that very few people listening to this would ever do this, but it tells the seller you're not serious. It starts negotiations off inhospitably. So again, before you name a price, know that the seller's probably going $20 or 20% over what they're willing to take. So just go $30, $40 less, 25, 30% off, and then see where you can end up in the middle. They might be willing to just part with it at that $30, $40 off or 30% off if you're like, I can pick it up now in an hour or something. So you may luck out on that if you also put speed behind, but normally you land somewhere in the middle and be okay with that. That's great. Again, tether your expectations to the reality that things are more expensive now than they were 4 years ago.
Yeah, I don't love that reality, but it is where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Which does pair nicely with number 5, which is act decisively, not hastily. So this tip is encouraging us to strike while the iron is hot. And he's talking about how he often buys and sells things. I don't know exactly the platform that he uses, but let's think Facebook Marketplace and how when he's selling something, nothing pleases him more than a buyer who offers to close quickly, come with their cash and do it immediately. And I can vouch for that as well when I have sold things. I don't want to waste a ton of time going back and forth with people, holding it for days or weeks. If someone's going to tell me they're going to be at my door in an hour, that's fantastic. And a lot of times in those instances, if you are actually following through, not just texting things to make someone feel good about themselves, but getting in your car and following through, then you are more likely to also be able to get the best possible deal because you're the first one there. You're the first one showing up. The whole cash thing, as far as private sales go, that's kind of a weird one to me. Like, I don't have a point of sale system. I can't take your credit card. Of course, you're going to pay me cash. So whenever someone's in my Facebook Messenger trying to buy something from me, like cash now, this offer, I'm like, of course you're paying me cash. Like I don't take credit cards.
Well, the other option is Venmo or Zelle, which has become more commonly used. I honestly will only take it if I see the person face to face. I know Travis several times has bought things via Venmo to reserve it before he can actually, like, he wants it. He's like, I'll Venmo you right now if you'll hold it for a couple hours. I don't love that, but it's always worked out for him because he's well discerning. But that is, I mean, a lot of people are using Venmo and Zelle now. A lot of people prefer Zelle.
Yeah, I guess I'm open to that.
Mm-hmm.
But using cash as a negotiating tool, it does work a lot of times at some of your stores where they have to pay a credit card fee on any credit card purchases that you make. So I've utilized this, for example, with furniture. If I'm willing to purchase it in cash, I've often gotten at least a 5 to 10% discount because it's advantageous to them to not have to pay the credit card fee. So they'll usually discount it. Throughout our renovations, that was the case. We got a nice discount on paying cash for our countertops. So definitely still use that as a bargaining tool. Just know it might not go as far in your more smaller private sale deals. but then also pairing that with not rushing, being willing to act quickly if you are for certain that this is the good or the service that you want, but also recognizing that you're not beholden to anybody. You don't have to make a purchase out of courtesy. Trust your gut if you're feeling as though, you know what, actually, even if you have some sunk cost on the negotiating table, if you're still not certain about it, if it doesn't feel like the best deal to you, you don't need to have a sense of loyalty to this deal. You can walk away.
Mm-hmm. The sixth one is to set limits, not limitations. Do have a plan and don't be a robot. I love this. And it's the same reason why, I hate strict budgets. I love the freedom to, if I see a really unique deal, I want to be able to pounce on it without feeling guilty. But then I also don't want to rush, like the last tip, but I want to be able to strike while the iron is hot. And so I just wanted to get at you with a few places where this might be relevant. So if you're in the market for anything from these retailers, that you might be able to take this into consideration, have a plan and still keep a budget, but don't be a robot about it. So if you see the deal, then you can pounce on it. So here are a couple big box retailers that you can negotiate at. The Gap is not on this list. I'll just put that right out there. Gap's not on this list, but Best Buy, floor models, open box items, stuff like that, you can negotiate on. We have negotiated on televisions from Best Buy, brand new, just the box is open. So if you are looking for a TV and you find the one you want at Best Buy, negotiate it for it. This is something you want to pounce on because it's something that may not come around again. Home Depot and Lowe's, if you're doing renovations, like Jill said, you can obviously scratches, dents, dings. If you bring that to an associate, they can give you a lower price with very little haggling. Poor quality lumber, floor models are all over the place. You'll see them denoted by certain color tags. And then sometimes stocking errors. This doesn't always work, but if you see something you want and the price looks too good to be true, then it could be in the wrong section. They might give it to you at the price that it's marked at. So a smidge of talking would be required there and doesn't always work, but sometimes. Sam's Club, Costco, again, floor model stuff, produce that may be at the last days of its life. Tires never should be bought at sticker prices. Warehouse stores will definitely discount tires. Jill already said furniture stores, but even Walmart and Target, if you know what you're doing, you can haggle on some stuff there, like damages, dings. Target will give you 13% off damaged items. Food, again, that's near.
Think about anything just already on clearance.
Yes.
Things that already have a clearance sticker on it sometimes can go even lower.
Yeah. And then our beloved pawn shops, thrift stores, you could definitely negotiate stuff there all the time, everything. You can usually try and go for maybe 10% off, I would say, is kind of where you might end up. So maybe start 25, 15 and see where you end up. And then even department stores, Nordstrom, Macy's, Kohl's, Dillard's. If you find the same, and this is where research comes in, if you find the same thing cheaper somewhere else, bring that information to them and they can let you know if they can price match it. Very often they will price match it. So all that to say, don't rush. Don't take advantage of sales just because they're sales, because they're marketing ploys. Have a plan. Don't be a robot. If you see these really good, unique deals at these retailers and it's something you actually need, then get it.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Negotiate it.
And you know what else you can take advantage of? And I'm sure there's room for negotiation. It can all be negotiated, but it will always be here.
Yes. The bill of the week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the bill of the week.
Hi, Jen and Jill. This is Rochelle from Minnesota. I'd just like to say thank you and share my bill. I had a weed barrier for the garden sitting in my Amazon cart for a couple days because, we went through is this an impulse or not? Will this bring value to my life? And then I also looked on Facebook Marketplace and other places, which I haven't really done before. And it costed me $60 instead of $130. And it definitely, these habits that you guys talk about on your episodes have greatly reduced, impulse purchases among other, big hitters too. So I'd just like to say thank you. And like I said, this particular bill will add value to my life because, decreasing groceries and also being able to spend time with my 2-year-old that loves plants and watering them. So thank you. Bye.
Yes, Rochelle, thank you for sharing that with us. That's it. It wasn't that hard. That's all we're trying to get people to do every week is just vary up your habits a little bit. Know what you want, know that it brings value, and then just check to see if it's at the thrift store or Facebook Marketplace before you go buy it on Amazon. Sometimes it will, and it'll save you over 50%, and sometimes it won't. Sometimes you'll end up buying it new. But instead of buying 100% of things new, we just want to lower our percentage of buying things new and full price.
What a beautiful example of putting a pause in place before you actually pull the trigger. And I even feel like this is an example of negotiating with ourselves, of giving ourselves this kind of space to say, is this the best deal? Could I find better? Let me think about this. Let me do my research. You negotiated with yourself, and that's amazing. And well done, Rochelle. And if you all have a bill of the week about negotiating with other people, with your spouse, with your child, with yourself, about limiting impulse purchases, creating a pause, or you are a Bill and you've not even done any of those things, but you've lived your life with the name Bill, visit frugalfriendspodcast.com/Bill. Leave us a bill. Thank you, Bill.
We all agree that reducing carbon emissions is a good thing. And once again, Toyota is leading the way. We hear a lot about fully electric vehicles, and Toyota has them with more on the way. But we also know a BEV is not for everyone, whether it's because of cost, range, or concerned about finding a charging station when you need it. Plus, the raw materials used to manufacture batteries are limited. Enter Beyond Zero, Toyota's vision for a carbon-neutral future, in vehicles and in manufacturing plants too. In the years ahead, the materials used to make just one long-range battery for an EV could be used to make batteries for 6 plug-in hybrids or 90 gas-electric hybrids. That's why Toyota's position today is electrified, diversified, empowering you to choose how to reduce your own carbon footprint with a vehicle that's right for you, a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or battery EV. So shop, learn more, and get details at toyota.com/Beyond Zero. Toyota, let's go places.
It's never too late. Never too late to earn a degree. Never too late for a comeback. Between your busy career and taking care of a family, it can feel like there's never a good time to go back to school. But your time is now. Time to start your comeback with Purdue Global. As Purdue's online university for working adults, Purdue Global is dedicated to supporting adults like you who know it's time to earn the recognition you deserve. You have the experience, you have the knowledge, it's time to get credit for the work you've done. You can balance work, family, and everything in between while earning your degree. It's time to move forward in your career, for your family and for yourself, with a degree you're proud of, a degree that employers will recognize and respect. You're worth this investment in yourself to earn a degree you deserve. It's never too late. Never too late to go back to school and come back stronger with an education you can trust. Now is the time for your comeback. Start yours today at purdueglobal.edu.
And now it's time for the lightning round.
The lightning round. Pew, pew. So, this week's lightning round is sharing your most recent successful negotiation. And even maybe you can say how much you saved from the original price if you remember it. Jill, go for it.
Yes, I negotiate all the time, constantly. I have moved way past that point of being afraid of negotiating. I have no shame. Now, I'm still kind and I'm not cheap, but I'm going to negotiate with you. If we out here doing an exchange, we're going to talk about it. You're not just going to get my money. So my most recent one was at Home Goods. Eric and I are at the point of furnishing our house now that it is nearly completely renovated. Now, I will do this all the time at Home Goods, Marshalls, TJ Maxx. All of these places you can negotiate. Most of the time, it's on things that are already marked down, clearance items, and they can know how long something's been out on the floor and mark it down even further. This one, however, was not on clearance, but I just liked it a bunch, and I did my own survey of the chairs and found some imperfections, some loose threads, a spot that seemed to have a small stain on it, that I wasn't sure if I'm going to be able to get out. I'm okay living with the stain, but didn't want to pay full price for some of these imperfections. And so I pointed that out. The manager inspected it and they gave me 20% off. I forget what the exact savings on that would have been, but I want to say at least $100. $150 was marked down off of the price.
Nice.
Yeah. These chairs look great too.
They do. Are they the ones I've seen?
Yeah. So I got at home a little bit of Dawn dish soap and then my own scissors to snip off the loose threads, and we're good.
Yes. So I feel like I have been the one doing all of the negotiating with, because we've been selling a lot of stuff and then like with our rentals. So it's hard for me. I have been negotiated down so many times. It is hard for me to remember what I have recently negotiated, which is so bad. But we divvy up these tasks in the house, and negotiating is not my task.
For the household, you can answer for the household then.
For the household, gosh, Travis will go to Home Depot and like every other time he'll come back with something that he has gotten discounted. He's always looking for imperfections, always looking at the discount place. And I do too, but I usually like, I'll look at the discount stuff and it's already marked 50% off. So I'm like, cool, I don't have to negotiate that any further. So I would say that our flooring, we got it was already marked down, but we maybe got it a little bit. We haven't even bought all of our flooring yet. We pounced on a deal that was our flooring that we wanted. We weren't ready to buy all of our flooring yet, but we saw the flooring that we wanted and we bought part of it because it was like a deal. It was open box. We did the same with our appliances. So I think I have an eye for when the best deals are offered at different stores so that I can just pounce on the deal. And then he has the eye for imperfections that he can negotiate down and will ask anybody for a lower price on anything, whether or not his perception of the price is tethered to reality.
Yes. Now, I will say, little small tip on that one. Lowe's, Home Depot, even Home Goods, but especially these home improvement stores, you're going to do better negotiating the price within the department that you find it in.
Yes.
So, for instance, if you find lumber that is not that great or has imperfections, you need to find the manager of the lumber department to negotiate it. They, on the spot, can have the authority to print you a new sticker. Up to many times I've received like 30 to 40% off. If you are trying to negotiate just at the sales desk, usually the best they can do is 10 to 15%, or they'll have to make the call back to the manager. And sometimes you're not going to do as well because of the inconvenience of that, pulling them away from their department or just maybe not even getting the manager and missing out on it or needing to walk away. So do your negotiations within that department.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of one of those hidden fees of inconvenience.
Yeah.
It's not a tacked on fee,
There you go.
but it's lost savings.
Yeah. Well, friends, thanks for being here. We hope that you've gained some negotiation tips and tricks and tactics. And you know that we just are going to love to hear about them, whether it's through the Bill of the Week or on Instagram or through a review that you leave. That'd be lovely. We love hearing your kind reviews. And we especially appreciated this one from Kitty Leia, who said, "Love it. OMG, super actionable, succinct, funny, approachable, and just chef's kiss. Already making changes in my life based on this one, and I'm a serial spender." Wow, Kitty Leia, there's room for growth. We're glad you're here.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, if you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to leave a rating and review. It helps potential new listeners know what our show is all about, know that we don't say coupon and hoard everything and revolve your life around saving money, but revolve your life around the things that matter most and just make sure you are spending enough to afford it.
See you next time.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Siriani.
So I am considering negotiating on my next flight, which is actually tomorrow.
Oh.
To see if we can upgrade. I mean, of course, that depends on if there's room. Eric tried to see if we could upgrade on the flight here. We're in San Diego at the moment. We fly back to Florida tomorrow. And I think we tried to ask at the gate just before boarding. They wanted $200 a person, and that wasn't worth it to me. But part of our problem was not having a number in our heads ahead of time, or at least having talked about it. So I'm like, $100 on a long flight per person. I would do that. So if there's room, we might pull the trigger on an upgrade. We'll see. I'll keep you posted.
I would love, California is such a long flight.
Mm-hmm.
It's so long.
East Coast to West Coast. Takes a while.
Yeah, I think you could it's the same amount to fly to like London or something from Orlando. It's a very similar flight length. But don't quote me on that. I don't travel a lot. It just feels that long.
Let's go to London and find out.
I don't have a huge desire to go to London, but I do want to go to Greece.
Yes.
Let's go to the Mediterranean.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that.
You negotiated well.
Yes. That's my latest successful negotiation.
With the best all-inclusive vacation deals to Mexico and the Caribbean, booking your getaway with Cheap Caribbean Vacations means you have more freedom to do your deal. Whether you want to enjoy snorkeling, endless margaritas and more, or simply soak up the sun and sand in a tropical paradise, Cheap Caribbean Vacations has your deal for that. Plan and book the exact getaway you want at exactly the right price for you by using our exclusive budget Beach Finder, or find a featured all-inclusive package and do your deal at cheapcaribbean.com.
Bring home Napoleon.
Destiny has brought me here.
The action epic from acclaimed director Ridley Scott.
What is your name?
Napoleon. You are the greatest leader in the history of the world.
Witness the rise.
You are nothing without me.
Of the legend. Starring Academy Award winner Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby.
I'm the first to admit when I make a mistake. I simply never do.
Napoleon. Buy or rent on digital now. Rated R.